All right, do you know what that theme song means? That's right, it's another episode of the Senator Omer Raines Show. We invite you to listen to us at 1180 AM KCKQ, a Lotus broadcast radio station, as well as around the world on americamatters.us. The creator and the host of the show invite you to come join us here at the Reno Town Mall, get in the audience, or get behind a microphone. You can also text in questions to our chief engineer, Craig Moss, at 775-237-2266. But if you would like to speak with Senator Omer Raines or his guests, that number is 844-790-TALK. Again, it's 844-790-8255. Without further ado, let's get to the creator and host of the Senator Omer Raines Show, Senator Omer Raines.
Thank you, Eddie. Good afternoon, folks. I'm Omer Raines, welcoming you to America Matters Media, broadcasting this program to the world, not only in English, but by way of translation in various other languages as well. The programs are being broadcast live on air in the United States and worldwide via various social media applications. Now, this program, by my choice, is intended to be eclectic in nature. Thus, it does not solely focus on one topic or subject matter. However, whatever the guest and whatever the field and whatever the point of view, we always have interesting and well-informed people involved. And we encourage diverse points of view. Okay, Eddie gave you the call-in and text numbers, and with that in mind, I want to introduce today's topic and today's guest. The topic is the Final Four of March Madness, the most popular sporting event in America, and with the most public engagement as evidenced by the fact that more money is spent during March Madness than on the Super Bowl, the World Series, and all other such sporting events combined. So we're down to the Final Four, and our guest is once again Stan Morrison, possibly the most conversant person in America to speak on today's topic. Now, for those of you who didn't tune in to our previous discussion with Stan, I'm going to again briefly introduce him. Stan was a member of the UC Berkeley 1959 NCAA champions and also of the NCAA runner-ups the following year. Thereafter, he was a European All-Star with Real Madrid, one of the first Americans to play international basketball. Returning to the States, Stan became an AAU All-American in 1963. Thereafter, he became head basketball coach of the University of Pacific, and he enjoyed extraordinary success. He was the Pacific Coast Athletic Association champion in 1979. He took his team to the NCAA basketball tournament. Then he became head coach at the University of Southern California Trojans, the Pac-10 champions in 1985, taking his team to the NCAA tournament both in 1982 and 85. Later, he served as head coach at San Jose State University, Big West tournament champions in 1996, again, NCAA basketball tournament. He is the only coach in NCAA history to lead 3 universities in the same state to the NCAA basketball tournament. In large measure for that reason, he was named Coach of the Year in the Pacific Coast Athletic Association, Coach of the Year in the Pac-10 Conference, Coach of the Year in the Big West Conference. And from 1986 to 1989, he served as the athletic director at the University of California, Santa Barbara, right in the heart of my former Senate district. He later served also as athletic director at the University of California, Riverside. Of the moment, Stan was a member of the NCAA Women's Basketball Tournament Selection Committee back in 1988 and 89. Thereafter, he became a member of the NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament Selection Committee, serving 5 years in that capacity, 2007 to 2011. In 2014, he was the American Heart Association's Outstanding Chair recipient, and in 2017, he was given the prestigious Pete Newell Career Achievement Award for his lifetime of work and career in basketball. As if that isn't enough, Stan has somehow found time to give service to over 25 different nonprofit and humanitarian organizations. So, welcome, Stan.
Thank you, Senator. That's just like I wrote it.
Not quite. Okay, Stan. We started out with 64 teams, and now we're down to 4. Now, before we get down to those four, I want you to provide us with an overview of the first three rounds.
Well, it's very interesting. You start out with 68 teams, and you have 4 teams that play in what is called the first 4, not the final 4. The first 4
correct.
Down to 64
bubble teams.
And you bet. And we had those terrific regionals, and they were a lot of fun. Obviously, in the South region, we had this fantastic number 1 seed. North Carolina came out of there, starting in Greenville, North Carolina. They beat Texas Southern and Arkansas and Butler, and finally Kentucky in a thrilling game, 75-73, and they are the representative of the South region. In the Midwest region, beginning in Sacramento, we had the University of Oregon, and the Ducks, unfortunately, were without a 6'10" player who was just a terrific player, great shot blocker, Chris Boucher, a senior out of Quebec, Montreal, Canada, and he had an anterior cruciate ligament, and so he's done. And yet they just kept going. They didn't flinch. They didn't blink. They just kept going, and they did a wonderful job. They come to us out of the Midwest region, starting off with a 16-point win against Iona, and then a 3-point win in a very tough game against Rhode Island, and then that fantastic game we all saw on television, 69-68 win against Michigan by 1 point, and then an unlikely rout against Kansas, a 14-point win, 74-60, to emerge out of the Midwest region as the champions. So that's 2 of the teams that have gotten here to this Final Four in this beautiful city of Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay, we're going to take a short break, Stan. Please bear with us. Audience, please stay with us. We'll be right back after we pay some bills.
Hi, this is Ken Roberts, the host of Ken's Bulls and Bears Report. If you own real estate, paper, and other assets, congratulations. Now, you need protection. We live in a litigious society. Those with assets are sued all the time. Are you next? Protect your assets with solid asset protection strategies. Contact my friend Garrett Sutton and the Sutton Law Center. Garrett and his team provide affordable asset protection services with strong LLC and corporate formations in all 50 states. Better yet, they help maintain your entity on an ongoing basis so you're protected into the future. Garrett has written the bestsellers Start Your Own Corporation and Loopholes of Real Estate, among others, in the Rich Dad Advisor series. He knows asset protection. Visit his website at sutlaw.com. That's SUT law.com, or call 800-700-1430. Sutton Law Center can help you protect your hard-earned assets. Call 800-700-1430 today, or visit sutlaw.com. Protect your assets now at sutlaw.com.
Do you own a franchise and you're having problems with either your franchisor or their directors and management? Well, let me tell you about a brand new organization that is sweeping the nation. It's FAST, which is an acronym for Franchisee Advice and Support Team. They will actually arbitrate on your behalf. They will actually follow up legally if you're having problems along those lines. They will also help you with just simple advice. You can call them 24/7 and they will help you. That's FAST, the acronym for Franchisee Advice and Support Team. Their phone number is 775-384-4444. Again, 775-384-4444.
Did you know that Noble Pie Parlor has been voted best pizza in Northern Nevada 5 times? They make deliciously different pizzas with the freshest ingredients, like house-made meatballs and sausage, caramelized fennel and onion, and Granny Smith apples. Noble has excellent options for health-conscious pizza fans, too, including vegan and gluten-free, and they always buy the best local produce at places like our Great Basin Food Co-op. The award-winning Noble Pie Parlor has also been voted Best Wings and won the Wing Fest Championship 3 times for their famous Pittsburgh-style wings. Noble Pie Parlor has a great weekend brunch, too. Check out the Cal's Omelet and build your own Bloody Mary. Noble even has a full bar with local beers and creative cocktails like the Grey Fox with homemade Earl Grey syrup. Noble also caters and delivers. They're located at 239 West 2nd Street next to the El Cortez Hotel. Call 775-622-9222. That's 622-9222. Or visit noblepieparlor.com. Great news, Reno foodies. This is Kelly Rush, host of Foodie Focus, Mondays at 11 a.m. Everybody knows that Midtown has grown like crazy over the past few years, but one constant complaint was that the restaurants all close by 9 or 10 p.m. Not anymore. Noble Pie Parlor has opened its latest location in the beautiful new 777 Center Street building at Cheney Street. They're open till at least midnight and as late as 3 a.m. throughout the week, and Sundays from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. The food menu at Noble Pie Midtown features the same great favorites you know from their downtown location, plus a gorgeous bar with a special craft beer and cocktail menu. There's plenty of comfortable seating inside and also an outdoor patio with picnic tables, giving it a true community feel. It's a great place to bring friends and family, even the furry ones. Search Noble Pie Midtown on Facebook and be sure to tell them Foodie Focus sent you.
Welcome back, folks. Again, our guest is Stan Morrison. Incredible guest, incredible knowledge, incredible pedigree. Now, Stan, you had given us your analysis of 2 of the 4 brackets up to this point. Go ahead and tell us about the other 2.
Well, out of the East region, we had the real Cinderella team in this Final Four. This South Carolina team from that is coached by Frank Martin, one of the most interesting men in coaching today. His personal story is a great one. We've seen it on television many times, and I saw it personally last night at an event they had here in Phoenix. This team began their play in the NCAA playoffs as a 7 seed in Greenville, North Carolina. Now, think for a moment of their previous 7 games, which were the last 7 in their conference. They only won 2 of those games. Now, they weren't playing chopped liver. I mean, they're playing Vanderbilt and Florida and Ole Miss and Alabama, but they only won 2 of those, and then they got hot. They beat Marquette by 20 points. They beat Duke by 7 in a sensational effort. They turned around and beat a very hot Baylor team by 20, and then they knocked off Florida by 7. So they went 20-7, 20-7, and what's going to be on the docket for tomorrow? So they are the representative out of the East region. That'd be South Carolina, the Gamecocks. And finally, out of the West region, we have a team that's been up front and in the polls from day one, and they're so excited now to be here. The alma mater of Bing Crosby. And I think Bing is probably watching as closely as he can, as everyone else in the Northwest is, and in the rest of the country. Another number 1 seed. They began in Salt Lake City, and they knocked off South Dakota State by 10. Then they beat Northwestern, and Northwestern was making their first ever appearance in the NCAA tournament. So they won their first appearance. Doug Collins' son did a great job for Northwestern, but they ran into a very, very good Gonzaga team and lost by 6. And then it was West Virginia. And Huggins had his team going, and they're a great defensive team, one that can press even when they have missed a shot. They can press you full court and do. A great hustling team. And Gonzaga maintained its confidence and its poise and won 61-58. And finally, they faced Xavier for the championship of the Western region. And I'm going to tell you something. Everyone was so astounded at Xavier winning against Kansas in a great win. And this Gonzaga team turned around and won by 24 points. They ran them out of the gym, 83-59. Now, I don't know if that's good or if that counts or if that has any impact on what's going to happen tomorrow. A lot of people say it's better to have a tough game before you get into the Final Four. The fact remains they're in, they're thrilled, they're celebrating, but they're very mature. So here's another number 1 seed, Gonzaga. So I've given you, we have a 2 seed in Oregon. We have a 1 seed in North Carolina, and we have a 1 seed in Gonzaga. By that, they're on the number 1 line or the number 2 line. And then we have South Carolina down on the 7 line. And there's a thing in the basketball committee, they call it the formula of 6. So when you get your final 4 teams, you total up all the seeds. So the best score you could get is a 4. And they say if you get 6 or better in the totaling up those seeds, the committee is a genius. One of the years I was on the committee, we had 2 2s and 2 1s. And another year, all 4 of the number 1 seeds got in, which means you did a super job in selecting. But this South Carolina team, once again, are they a team of destiny? I don't know. We're going to find out at 3:09 tomorrow afternoon when the ball goes in the air, and this South Carolina team has a chance to play against Gonzaga.
Stan, let me give you a layperson's analysis in one paragraph.
Sure.
Right up to where we are. You know, we started out with, as always, some Cinderella teams and dark horses that had an early run. However, by the Sweet 16, it appeared that the selection committee had it pretty much right, as most of the teams there were basketball blue bloods. In effect, they had rounded up the usual suspects. However, with the upset of Villanova by Florida, the upset of Kansas by Oregon, all of a sudden the South bracket, which I thought to be the weakest of the 4 in the beginning, certainly appeared now to be the strongest, with North Carolina, Kentucky, and UCLA still standing. And the East, which appeared to be the strongest in the beginning, was beginning to look like the weakness. Would you agree or disagree with that analysis?
No, I was astounded when they thought the South region was the weakest in the beginning. And then as it progressed, they said it was the strongest. I think it's in the hand of the gods. I really do. It is so difficult to tell. Injuries, illness, team getting on a roll, location, travel, couple of officiating calls that may be good calls or bad calls, who knows. But all those things put into the mix, and you just never know who's going to survive. I just think as I watched it unfold, I watched the defense of these teams. Let me give you a quick example, and I think your point is a great one, because upsets are the name of the game. I mean, they truly are the name of the game. Otherwise, you'd have 4 number 1 seeds here. As I watched North Carolina play against this Kentucky team, and I thought Kentucky would beat UCLA. I think it was a pick'em, and a friend of mine said to me, "What do you think?" And I said, "I think Kentucky wins by 10." He said, "Holy cow, how can you say that?" I said, "I think UCLA is very good, but this Kentucky team has 4 things going for it. They're playing a home game. It's in their region. They've got Calipari, who's been there, done that. They have the revenge motive because UCLA had beaten Kentucky earlier to start the season back in Kentucky, which was a great win for the Bruins. And finally, the 4th reason escapes me right now. But, you know, I just, as I watched the game unfold and watched these teams play, I was not overly surprised. But when I saw Carolina play against Kentucky, that told me more about Carolina than anything I've seen this year. Their quickness defensively. Young Jackson, first-team All-American. His defensive footwork was amazing. I mean, I saw him pair up with Fox, who's one of the quickest players in America, and stay between him and the basket. And with his length, it made it that much more amazing. I mean, it was truly an outstanding, and I saw it from other players, and I think North Carolina is very underrated defensively. Well, I believe that defense has really surfaced in this tournament and become perhaps the dominant feature of whichever team is going to come out of here. I really do. But Justin Jackson really got my attention in that particular matchup with Kentucky.
But I have to tell you something that I think is quite stark. The selection committee, they were enamored with the ACC. Everybody in the country said, oh, the ACC is the strongest. The fact is, interestingly enough, by the time of the Sweet 16, the ACC had only 1 of its 9 teams remaining, and that was University of North Carolina. While the Pacific Coast, always overlooked, especially the Pac-12. The Pacific Coast had 4 teams still standing: Oregon, UCLA, Arizona, Gonzaga, not part of the conference, but in the Northwest. And, of course, USC barely lost to Baylor, or there would have been 5. So, I think, again, it talks about the bias because people don't stay up long enough to watch the West Coast game if they're on the East Coast. And so anyway, that was a fascination to me. And I think...
Well, your point is a great one, Senator. I'm going to tell you right now, it is a reality that the West Coast gets to see the East Coast. Their games start at 7 o'clock on the East Coast. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon here in the West. But people don't want to stay up till 10:30 or 11 to see the start of a game that if they're living in the East and watching the games in the West. And so that kind of exposure does hurt them in terms of the seeding. I believe that. I mean, I constantly, and as I said a couple of weeks ago, I constantly was reminding the committee, hey, they do play west of the Mississippi. Now, how do you resolve that? Well, one of the ways you get the attention of the national media is by hooking up and playing, a game or two in the East, just as the Eastern teams need to play a game or two in the West in their preseason, so you get a feel for them. Certainly, UCLA was boosted, very quickly up into the high ratings nationally when they beat Kentucky back there. The preseason tournaments in Hawaii, no one in the East really gets to watch that. I mean, they just simply don't. It's just way too late at night. The West, even if you're on the West Coast, it's difficult many times to see some of those games because of the time swing. But those games mean something. And I love seeing the intersectional games and fewer cupcake games being played. Teams are really getting after each other. We want to play you. We'll play you home and home. And this year we'll play at your place, and next year you play at ours. And I love that. I think that brings out the competitiveness of the teams, but it certainly aids in the exposure for a more valid evaluation when it comes time for seeding the teams.
Okay, Sam, we're going to take one more commercial break, and we'll be back soon, and we're going to focus specifically on the Final Four, and we're going to put you to the test. You'll be under pressure.
Okay.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
At Safelite, we know how busy your life can be.
Oh, no.
This mom didn't have time to worry about a cracked windshield, so she scheduled at Safelite.com. And with Safelite's exclusive On My Way text, she knew exactly when I'd be there. Hi, Steve with Safelite.
Thanks for your text.
I replaced her windshield, and she didn't miss a single shot, giving you more time for what matters most. How'd you do?
We won.
Nice. That's another Safelite advantage.
So much.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
A message to all America Matters listeners. Team Integrity Energy Group wants you to be protected in as many ways as possible, which is why they are now authorized to offer one of the top home automation and security systems in North America. To be able to give you the convenience of smart home technologies that you control from your smartphone, tablet, or PC. You definitely don't want to miss out on the doorbell camera with HD night vision, which also has audio built in so you can talk to who is at your front door 24/7. You will have emergency support 24/7 with a verbal code password protected system for break-ins, which will notify you and the authorities within seconds. Get the convenience of smart home technologies with top-of-the-line security system that won't break the wallet. Call Team Integrity Energy Group at 888-704-0364 extension 2. Don't forget to mention America Matters Radio to qualify to receive a $50 gift card.
So you think this chip is nothing to worry about? Well, at Safelite, we know sooner or later every chip will crack. These friends were on a trip when their windshield got chipped. So they scheduled at Safelite.com. They didn't have to change their plans or worry about a thing. I'll see you in a little bit. And I fixed it right away with a strong repair they can trust. Plus, with most insurance, a Safelite repair is no cost to you.
Really?
Being there whenever you need us, that's another Safelite advantage.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace. What's your sign? Zodiac Sign Company has been providing quality signage to Northern Nevada and beyond since 1999. With over 18 years of experience, they've handled projects of all sizes. Capabilities include production of the smallest decals all the way up to large illuminated monument signs and everything in between. Aaron and his crew strive to provide friendly, prompt, and professional service at a reasonable price. Call 775-324-0799 for your free price quote. Supporting local businesses wherever possible, they ask you to consider doing the same. Visit ZodiacSignCo.com or call 775-324-0799. Zodiac Sign Company is able to handle just about any kind of sign or graphic project you can imagine, from decals, banners, real estate signs, vehicle wraps, illuminated storefront signage, and much more. They enjoy being creative and improvising, so bring them your ideas and they'll make it happen. Visit ZodiacSignCo.com or call 775-324-0799.
Okay, again, welcome back, folks. Our great guest is Stan Morrison, and we are talking about the Final Four of March Madness. Semifinals this coming Saturday, the following Monday evening, the finals. Now, I want to point out one thing, not to embarrass you, but to tell you and the audience about how much fun this is and how anyone has an equal chance to get these things right. Stan, when you last appeared, your Final Four, of those Final Four, only North Carolina remains alive. And by my own Final Four, only Gonzaga remains alive. You had Duke, Louisville, Arizona, and North Carolina. I had Villanova, Kansas, UCLA, and Gonzaga. So anyway, that's part of the reason I think that it's fun for everyone. As for 1 month, we all become pundits. And, Warren Buffett's prepared to offer $1 million for life for anyone who gets the final 16 or the Sweet 16 right. No one has ever gotten there. So anyway, so here we are now. There are only 4 teams left. The North Carolina Tar Heels, they've got that tremendous front line. The Gonzaga Bulldogs, they've got this guy Karnowski in the middle who has the greatest beard in college basketball. And in addition to that, he's over 7 feet tall and weighs over 300 pounds. So he's an immovable object, but also one with skill. You've got the Oregon Ducks. People thought, they're finished because their great defensive player, Boucher, is out. And yet the Ducks have shot the lights out so far and continued right up to the Final Four. And you've got the South Carolina Gamecocks, tremendous swarming defense. Wow. They beat Florida because of that. So anyway, we have the possibility, I guess, of an all-Carolina final, even though South and North Carolina are in different conferences. We also have the possibility of a Pacific Northwest duo, I suppose.
Well, we have all that, and we have a possibility of 2 rookies playing in the finals as well.
Well, you bring up a good point. Neither Gonzaga nor North Carolina has ever been to the Final Four, and Oregon hasn't been there since 1939, 78 years ago. On the other hand, you've got North Carolina, who's been there 20 times. So to what extent is experience a factor? Because obviously Carolina has the experience.
Well, Carolina really does. I'll tell you what, let's take a look at that first game that's going to be played tomorrow, tip-off at 3:09. This South Carolina team is on a roll. They're going 73 points a game, shooting 42% from the floor, which is the lowest of the 4 teams in the Final Four. They're shooting 3.337 from three-point range, and they're almost at 70% from the free throw line. So in the shooting department, they're behind. But nationally, understand that South Carolina allows 87.9 points per 100 possessions. That's second in defensive efficiency in the NCAA. That's a great mark because most teams don't get 100 possessions, as you well know in a game, particularly if you're playing against some of the tempo teams like Gonzaga can be if they choose to. So they've got that. I mean, they have their number one strength is their defense. number two that's going for them right now is the emotion. I heard one of their players last night, P.J. Dozier, speak, and I'm going to tell you something right now. His maturity and the strength of what he had to say, and there's a sophomore now, 6'6", 205, and when he was speaking about their focus on the game, they did not sound like they were out of control emotionally. But they're a tough team. They're going to take a bite right out of the front of your jersey, and they won't let go for 40 minutes. The thing that concerns me is they are only winning the rebound battle by 1 rebound a game. Now, I recognize that's for 30-plus games. So, but they've been hotter than that. They've rebounded better than that over the period of time, of the tournament. They have good size. They're 6'9" and 6'10". Inside with Silva, Kotsar, Mike Kotsar, 6'10", 245 from Estonia. He's a freshman, though, and this is a big, big stage for a young freshman, particularly a kid from out of the country. But I think Frank Martin has his team ready to battle. But for me, the problem is that they're running into a team. I mentioned they were that South Carolina was number 2 in defensive efficiency. Well, South Carolina, unfortunately for them, is running into the number 1 team in defensive efficiency rating in the NCAA, and that's Gonzaga. Mark Few has been in this tournament more times than the ball has gone up in the air. I mean, it's astounding. I think this is his 19th time, and it's amazing to watch the maturity of this team. Hands down, in my estimation, this is the best defensive team that Gonzaga has ever had under Mark Few. They're certainly led by their second-team All-American, Nigel Williams-Goss, 6'3", 195 guard, who is a redshirt junior. By the way, this team has more red shirts than any team I've ever seen. They have 9 players who have redshirted. So if they're a sophomore, they're really a junior in terms of their experience. Nigel Williams-Goss was Player of the Year in the West Coast Conference. And where South Carolina is averaging 73, Gonzaga is averaging 83. Gonzaga is shooting better than anyone, .509 field goal percentage. They're shooting almost 38% from three-point range, and they're a 72% free throw team. Great size, and you mentioned President Karnowski, 7'1", 300-pound redshirt senior. So this is his 5th year. He spoke last night at the salute to the teams, and he's very, very excited to be here. They have 2 other guards in there, Jordan Matthews and Josh Perkins. And they have 6'9", redshirt junior, 228 pounds, Jonathan Williams. This is a team that is winning the battle on the boards by an average of 7 rebounds a game. And I think, again, their greatest strength is their defense and their shooters. They can defend you, and they can shoot it. And I think Karnowski is the X factor in this game. Your ability to control him, because they go inside to him in the classic way on the medium post. And I anticipate very, very strongly that Coach Martin will send an immediate double team. The X factor for Karnowski is he's a great passer. That lefty can really see the court, and he'll whip the ball to the weak side for open jump shots. Well, then you're in big trouble because this team can really shoot the ball. In addition to that, he's like a 68% field goal shooter in the 2-point range. He really poses problems because of his size. He has real good foot quickness, but doesn't jump very high. But that left-handed little baby hook to the middle of the lane, or he drop steps and he bodies you out with that 300-pound frame and banks it in off the glass. He is the X factor in this game for me. This is going to be a terrific game, I think. The biggest, I think, obstacle for Coach Martin in South Carolina is staying in the game, because so often Mark Few and his guys can run away from you. They've done it time and time again with teams where they're up 20 points all the time. And over the course of the season, I mean, their statistics are truly remarkable. They won by an average of 23 points a game this year. 37 games, and they won by an average of 23. That's unheard of. So if you could stay in the game and be that bulldog or that gamecock that grabs you by the pant leg and won't let go, and you got a 4 or 5 minute game and it's close, watch out for South Carolina. Are they on a roll? Are they a team of destiny? We'll see. I think that's a great game tomorrow.
So, it seems to me that, I watched that Florida-South Carolina game. Florida was a very good team. And South Carolina's swarming defense took them right out of the game. They were terrific. What a game. But, John Wooden once said, you can't coach size. And it just seems to me as though the size of the Zags is going to be overwhelming. It's not just Karnowski. They got a front line that, if any team can match up with North Carolina's front line, obviously it's going to be Gonzaga.
Yeah, I would agree. And you make an excellent point there, Senator. Jonathan Williams will really be important here. But there is another, you have an X factor. I don't know what the Y factor is, but I'll give that Y factor to Zach Collins. 7 feet, 230, a first-year freshman, and this kid is destined to play at a much higher level. He's got the ability to stick it from three-point range. He's a rangy guy. He gets on the glass. Very different physically than Karnowski, and so there's no drop-off when he comes in the game. If Karnowski needs a break or he's in foul trouble, there is no drop-off. That's a huge advantage to have a player like that who can come in and in fact lift you. And I've seen him do it several times this season. That's another thing that they have to cope with at South Carolina because they don't have that kind of frontline depth. Once again, the thing that you can't really prepare for is the kind of absolutely ultimate emotional intensity of the South Carolina team at the defensive end of the court. We're not looking at any All-Americans. Certainly they're good players. And Sindarius Thornwell is a really good player, and he's been under the weather, by the way, although it appears he's going to be okay and ready for tip ball tomorrow. But the fact remains, if they can play with the same level of intensity for 40 minutes and stay in that game, they could surprise the world.
Okay, now, when we come back from this last commercial break, the question that I'm going to pose is Zags versus Cox. Who wins? Whoops, Greg, can I say that on air or I get bleeped out? It's okay? All right. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back.
Hey, everyone. This is Ankit Shukla, and I'm here today to talk about my book, Don't Live the Good Life, Live the Better Life, which I self-published in 2013. In Don't Live the Good Life, Live the Better Life, I discuss the idea of not just settling for good, but always going for better in both our personal and professional lives. I'm very proud of this book, and I believe that it will help and inspire millions of people around the world, and I hope that everybody reads it, enjoys it, and gets something out of it. Don't Live the Good Life, Live the Better Life can be picked up at Amazon.com or Xlibris.com. That's Xlibris.com. Also, please follow me on my website, theevenbetterlife.com. That's theevenbetterlife.com. I write on there regularly, and please feel free to comment on anything I put on there. I would love to hear from you. And please pick up a copy of my book and let me know what you think. Don't live the good life, live the better life. And please follow me on my website, theevenbetterlife.com.
Hi, I'm Pascal from Safelight. My customer's daughter was driving when a rock flew up and chipped her windshield. They wanted it repaired right before it could crack, so they scheduled online at Safelight.com. Safelight's repair resin fills the chip's tiniest microcracks. No other resin lasts longer or stays stronger. There's even a national lifetime warranty. Plus, thanks to his insurance, a Safelight repair was no cost to him. Really? Call or schedule online.
Safelight Repair, Safelight Replace. In today's economy, it's more important than ever to take care of your money. Proper wealth management strategies are essential to help you achieve your retirement income goals. The talented wealth specialists at Sierra Financial Advisors will focus on developing smart, innovative strategies to help you to protect and grow your nest egg. Katie Coombs has been a financial advisor for 16 years and specializes in estate planning, investment planning, retirement planning, education planning, and insurance planning. Katie and her team at Sierra Financial Advisors will focus on cultivating a long-term relationship with you to develop and implement smart wealth building strategies so you can handle whatever life throws at you. To make an appointment for your no-cost consultation, please call Katie Coombs at Sierra Financial Advisors at 775-885-8847 or find us online at sfallc.com. Securities offered through First Global Capital Corp. Member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through First Global Advisors Inc. Insurance services offered through Sierra Financial Advisors. Sierra Financial Advisors and First Global Capital Corp. are unaffiliated entities.
So you think all auto glass companies are the same? Well, they're not. When your windshield needs to be replaced, nobody makes it as worry-free as Safelite. First, Safelite emails a photo of the technician, so you know who to expect and how soon.
Right on time.
Safelite's one-of-a-kind True Seal technology places a new glass in perfect position for a strong, reliable bond you can trust.
Oh, that looks great.
You're all set.
Thank you so much.
Schedule now to get the Safelite Advantage.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
Again, welcome back, folks. What a great program. All right, we're going to now pose the question. Very brief, straightforward, up or down, Zags versus Cox. I understand I didn't get bleep, so that's the questions. Stan, please, answer.
Yeah, I've got the West Coast. I've got Gonzaga winning that one. I think the ferry boat ride that South Carolina's had will come to an end tomorrow afternoon. I think it's been a great ride for them, but I believe that Gonzaga will be the winner in that game.
All right, we've got it noted. Now, Ducks versus Heels.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. I saw this Oregon team in the Pac-12 Conference Championship, and I'm going to tell you something. They were so impressive. I couldn't get over it. Oregon is the quickest team in the Final Four. From top to bottom, they are quick on quick. And, of course, they're led by their second-team All-American, Dylan Brooks. He's at 6'7", 225. I mean, he's going to make some money playing this game. He was the Pac-12 Player of the Year and averaged 16.3 a game. He's just a terrific player. The thing that I love on every one of these teams is every one of the Final Four teams have 4 players in double figures. They got Tyler Dorsey at 14.5, Jordan Bell at 10, Dylan Ennis at 10. They have excellent depth. They have a really fine bench, a lot of size coming in off the bench, not averaging a lot of points, but the loss of Boucher really, really hurt them. And but they didn't flinch. They have not lost stride. And that is really remarkable, and it speaks so highly to Dana Altman and his ability to keep the troops focused and doing what they do. Oregon averages 79 a game. They shoot 48% from the floor. They're 38% from three-point range, and they are unabashed in shooting three-pointers, and they're right at 70% at the free throw line. I like this team a lot. I mean, they are so competitive. And they'll go into this game as an underdog tomorrow. I understand that. But I'm not concerned about it. They're certainly not concerned. They never back down to bigger teams. So they're going to be about 6'9", 6'7" on the floor. They're going to have to get to their bench soon to match the size of Carolina because, as you said, Senator, Carolina is a big team. Quickness, their team quickness is their greatest strength. Their desire for an up-tempo is really important. And certainly their fight, their competitiveness is very, very exciting. Oregon is something, it's in the hands of the gods there. Now let's take a look at North Carolina. North Carolina is the favorite for this tournament. North Carolina came in and beat Texas Southern easily by 39. Then they had a 7-point win against Arkansas. Then they had a 12-point win against Butler, and then we saw that great game against Kentucky where they won by 2 points. Here's an interesting statistic for you. When North Carolina wins the Maui Classic, they win the NCAA National Championship. 2004, 2005, 2008, 2009. Well, they won the 2016 Maui Classic over Wisconsin. Is that an omen? I don't know, but it's a statistic that someone threw at me, that's for sure. This North Carolina team is led by a first-team All-American in Justin Jackson, and we saw how great a player he is when they played Kentucky the other night. 6'8", 210-pound junior is quick on quick, averaging 18 points a game. But the thing that they have going, their number one strength is rebounding. They win by an average of 13 boards a game. And I don't care how you slice it, rebounding is possession of the ball. When you've got it, they don't have it. And this team has it. They, too, want an up-tempo. So while Oregon averages 79 a game, North Carolina averages 85. North Carolina shoots 47% from the floor, 36% from three-point range, and they have the exact same free throw percentage, .705, as Oregon. Defense, I'm so impressed with North Carolina's defense. They don't get a lot of attention for it. It's much better than I thought. I really watched it closely. But of all the things that North Carolina does as a team, the thing that they excel at better than anyone that plays the game at the intercollegiate level is offensive rebounding. They get 42% of the offensive of the boards. In other words, if they shoot 100 times and miss all 100, they get 42 of those misses. And I don't care how you slice it. You get an offensive rebound, stick it back in. That's 50% shooting no matter how you play. And I think that is the big advantage. I think that's why this team is the team to beat in the tournament, and it is going to be really tough. If ever they faced a team that is unfazed by statistics, is unfazed by what they read in the paper, unfazed by how good or their history, it's this Oregon team. Dana Altman will not bow down to anything you've done. It's 40 minutes between the lines. Lace them up tight. You're going to have to play us, and we're going to play all 40 minutes of it. And I think we have another great semifinal game, and that tip-off tomorrow night is about 5:39 or something like that.
Okay, pressure question again. Who wins, Ducks or Heels?
Well, this is really tough. I've got North Carolina will win this game against Oregon. This is a harder pick for me than the final. This is a really harder pick for me than the final because that, much like South Carolina bringing all their emotion to the court and their great defense, Oregon too, along with North Carolina, they're in the top 20 in defensive efficiency in the country. That's why I said these are four great defensive teams, and I hope schools are taking a lot of notice of one of the things that allow these teams to get in this thing. You got to be able to guard the ball. You got to be able to defend the rim. You got to be able to get into opponents and make them play differently than they practice. And these four teams do it better than anybody in the country, and that's why they're here. But and when the ball goes up, North Carolina is going to walk out of there, and they're going to have to repack their bags, while Oregon, I think, will have to pack their bags and go home.
Well, I hope that Oregon can deal with the front court timber of North Carolina. That's going to be a major challenge. I think if there is an upset tomorrow, that this may be the game. I think Oregon is good, very good, and even with the loss to Boucher. And again, I have my own doubts about the ACC, even though North Carolina is blue blood and deserves to be here. So now,
well, that's your point's very well made. When I said their number one strength at Oregon is quickness, boy, do you have an answer for quickness? Well, if anybody in this tournament does, it would be North Carolina, and they're very quick and they're very big. But are they quick enough to stay with the Oregon team? This is the hardest pick of them all for me.
Well, now you've got, if I understood you correctly, you've got the Hills and the Zags Monday night in the finals. So now break that down for us. And again, we're going to make a prediction or cause you to make a prediction if you will. I think you will.
Sure.
You've already hinted at it, but go ahead.
Well, yeah, I had so much success last time I was on this. Why should I be afraid? I could be 0 for 3 after the weekend's over.
But that's true of anyone in the country.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I think North Carolina and Gonzaga in a final would be one of the great games, one of the great finals in the history of the NCAA tournament. And I'm going to tell you why. Number one, you got a couple of number one seeds. The committee saw that same thing, and they rewarded the committee by getting here. You had 2 teams on that number one seed line. All right, that's number one. Number two, you've got great players. You got a first team All-American. That's playing here. You've got with Gonzaga. Certainly, you've got Nigel Williams-Goss, a second team All-American. I think it all comes down to the boards when it's said and done. And one of the things that Mark Few has demonstrated great understanding about is how to get his guards to rebound. Get your big men to neutralize. I'm not going to get the rebound, but you're not either. And get your guards in there and rebound. And when they do that, their guards come out of the backcourt. They'll rebound and come out on the bounce. And when you come out on the dribble real fast, you can eliminate a couple of defenders getting back. Now, North Carolina does a nice job getting back. But when you have guards rebounding, and I think that is a critical part of the game that we'll see on Monday night, if it's these 2 teams, I think that gives Gonzaga a chance to stay in against those big guys on the glass. But boy, I tell you what, when I see plus 13 rebounds a game compared to plus 7, that's a big discrepancy. When I see a team like North Carolina making 85 points a game, and Gonzaga 83. Gonzaga is shooting .509 from the floor. They're shooting almost 38% from the three-point range, and they are the best free throw team in the tournament. Gonzaga will be there right in the last minute. This game is going to be one of those games, in my view, whoever has the ball last is going to win.
Well, as you've pointed out earlier, UNC has the best offensive rebounding team in the nation. But by the same token, Collins and Karnowski and those big guys from Gonzaga, they box out. So we'll see. It's going to be close. But anyway, I want to thank you so much. You've been a great guest. You always are. You're my friend, and I look to you for guidance. When it comes to basketball, there's no one better. Audience, stay tuned next week for another great program.